the main point is that this sort of work, this sort of small scale work where the individual human has agency, like as in my actions here are going to affect this farm, because given the scale I can actually behave in such a way that I can either improve things or make things worse. But the point is that going forward in this life as young human beings, we should recognize the trends of the world and see to it that we don't get caught in a bad situation that we could have foreseen. The skills that you develop in a place like this are only going to become more important. The likes of food security, these sorts of questions are only going to become more important with time as the world continues to move rapidly towards wherever it's going. And these skills you can't just learn from textbooks, it's not just theory. It needs to be embodied. I think the best analogy for that is jiu-jitsu, where you can theoretically understand how to do a certain move, but it's not until you feel it at an embodied level that you actually come to deeply and truly understand whatever it is you're trying to understand. So if you're thinking about finding your way to one of these remote places and developing these skills, go for it. Do not hesitate. You know how they say of social media that it's a lie, yeah? How people depict a false image. They only present... Oops. They only present a picture of their lives that is somewhat attractive and appealing, at least to them. I'm about to buck this trend. Ooh, that's some serious light. That sun is serious. I'm about to buck this trend, and I'm going to show you the negative side of my life right now. Although it looked like, from this perspective, the job is done. Yeah, all the beams are painted or oiled over. Look at it from this side. Oh no. Yeah, there's work to be done. Right. So, why do workaways? Why do any of this craziness? What are you, a madman? No, I'm not mad. No. The motivation, I suppose, for doing this is quite personal, selfish, one might say. I see in the world is moving in a particular way that I don't like, and so I have made it a medium to long-term goal for myself to set up my own, whatever you want to call it, small-scale permaculture farm, small-scale regenerative agriculture, farmstead, homestead. I want to be able to grow my own food, crops, livestock, feed my family the best quality stuff, and not be too overly dependent on, for example, the global food supply chain. Just an example. I also see in the world a lot of positive, you might say, movements, the likes of permaculture, regen ag, becoming a bit more self-sufficient, self-reliance, rewilding. All of these are sort of converging to me, for me, to my mind. And I can't help but think these times are great times of change. If we were to think about it mytho-poetically, you might say that we're in the belly of the beast. This is the sort of the chaos time. And so what we do now is quite consequential. In fact, it's disproportionately consequential, our decisions and our actions in this time of chaos, because of how susceptible to change the world currently is. So whatever change you will into the world is more likely to happen now in these times of chaos than it would be in non-chaotic times. So that's sort of it. That's the reason why I think making your way out to these more remote places and teaching yourself the embodied skills it takes. Take, for example, just oiling beams to make sure that they're preserved for longer in life, yeah? Small stuff like that. Also the big stuff, like land management techniques and philosophies. Permaculture being a prime example of that. It's actually about design of the land to make maximum use of nature's resources, maybe. That's a good way of putting it. So you shape your system such that whatever you intend for that system to achieve is achieved as efficiently as possible. This, to my mind, my puny little brain, is solid. That is some solid philosophy, solid thinking right there. Let me quickly just be a bit more concrete with this whole observing global trends thing and responding appropriately. So when I say that, two come to mind just quickly off the top of my head. The first is sort of geopolitical instability nowadays, which, projecting into the future, extrapolating from the present, I only see as getting worse, not better. I mean, like, just think about it. Who of our political leaders is diplomatic enough and wise enough to sort this out? You know, if there was one person, maybe there's hope, but you'd need like a group of such people. And then the second sort of global trend that comes to mind when I speak to these things is, in Europe in particular, but I'd imagine the same holds true for elsewhere, rural depopulation. So what this, to my mind, is a great opportunity to seize as a young person. Now there are parcels of land going for cheap, being freed up and deemed sort of useless because of awkwardness, remoteness, not being viable for big, large-scale industrial farming operations. So they're just two examples of these global trends that I'd like for us to get a bit more savvy about, because I think it will pay back dividends in the future.